Hey guys, I just wanted to do a devlog on my side project that I'm making with Guard. You can see a Reddit post I made here over a month ago, probably closer to 2 months now. And this is when I made a dungeon generation system that was as close to the one that I actually wanted. I've always been a big fan of HeroQuest and Warhammer Quest, and I wanted to get the feel of Warhammer Quest's dungeons. The way it works is it's based on a deck of cards, and every time you explore a doorway, you pick a new card and then place down the appropriate room tile, which can be a room, a corridor, T-junction, etc., and finally the boss room. The point of this devlog is to talk about how I did the dungeon generation. It's probably taken me about 4 to 5 tries over the years to get a system that I like and that it does what I want. The first go was to have a grid with a random starting position and then just pick a random direction, mark the cell, and then pick another random direction. I've recently found out from Refresher Towel that this is called the Drunkard's Walk method. It's okay, but you end up with kind of like caves more than rooms, like the thing I'm after. And so that didn't work for me. So another method I tried the second time or third time was to start with one object, place it in the room, randomly decide how many adjacent pieces there were, and generate from there. So each object would be created, decide how many other pieces were going to be next to it, and so on and so on. This was a lot closer to what I wanted, but for whatever reason, I couldn't make it work exactly how I would like. I think it's because they were too samey. I wasn't controlling the randomness enough, which is something that I do in my current iteration. I'll get to that in a minute. So the current implementation I have is basically a mix of the two. So I made some CSV files, which are basically the rooms. It's just numbers in different kind of grid configurations. So if I wanted a 4x4 room, then it would just be a 4x4 grid of ones. If I wanted a T-junction, then it would be like a 6x6 grid. Some of them would be ones for a T-shape, and the rest would be zeros. So the game knew not to place a floor tile there. In the current iteration, I start off with the Drunkard's Walk method again, but this time I create an object and save that to the grid instead of just marking the cell as a 1. I also modify the randomness somewhat by making there be only a chance of changing direction, with the chance of changing direction increasing with each failed roll, and then after a direction change is made, then I just reset the chance back to the original. This means that there aren't as many turns. It kind of makes for a nicer dungeon effect. It's closer to what I wanted anyway. I also don't want every object to think of all of its adjacent objects as neighbours. It kind of makes it too open. This method only gives me a linear path though, which is kind of boring. So what I do after I finished generation, first of all, is I just use a for loop to pick 3 of the objects that aren't the start or boss room. I just add them all to a list and pick one randomly 3 times, and then try and make branching pathways using the same method from those 3 random objects. I don't always get 3 paths. Sometimes I get really cool ones. Sometimes they just, they just end in a dead end straight away. It's all kind of random, which is the point of it really. After that, because I have rooms of different sizes, like 4x4, 6x4, 6x6, 8x6, I have to do a little extra work to connect them all together, because at the moment this is how the dungeon looks. So to connect all the rooms together, all I do is I move the rooms around. So starting from the start room, I move its adjacent room closer to it until it's aligned properly. And by aligned, I mean, for example, if the start room is a 4x4 and the next room is a 6x6, then I want the doorways to be in the middle of the 4x4 and the 6x6. I want them to connect. So that's how I do it. That's why I do it. Occasionally, with this method, there will be some dungeons where the moving around, the squishing breaks it, so it's not really a valid dungeon anymore. But I do have some checks in place to just re-roll the dungeon until an acceptable one is found. So far, the maximum number of regenerations it has to do is 2. Quite often, I'll just start the game, I'll be fine. I'll make a few more, they'll be fine, and then I'll get a message to say, okay, we had to re-roll it. But the most it has to re-roll in one go is twice, so it's not too bad. It works okay. It is. I do feel like it's a bit of a long-winded way to go about generation, and I do intend to revisit it at some point. But it's working for now. It works fine for me. It's also worth pointing out that there is some useful info in that Reddit thread, which I'll put the link to in the description box below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.